With everything that's going on in our society, we oftentimes need someone to speak hope into us. We look at lots of leaders, whether that be the leader of the company that you work for, the leader of the house that you live in, the leader of the church that you attend, the leader of the community that you're a part of. We look for them to provide us with a sense of calm, a sense of hope, a sense of wonderful at the end of all of this craziness. Sometimes it doesn't happen. And so what do? I've got 6 simple steps that should help you get there. One, let's start with daily meditation. Let's simply try to cleanse our minds of all of the craziness that we're dealing with, of all of the negativity, whether that be negative that comes from the media, negative that comes from family or from the sphere of people that we surround ourselves with. Let's just cleanse our hearts and our minds of all of that garbage. Let's start to simply meditate. And meditation is not just about being quiet. It is also about calming. It is also about centering. Step number 2. And this is something that takes me back to my childhood, takes me back to a place called Rockmart, Georgia, where my grandmother used to live, and everybody knew everybody. Step number 2 is smile and wave at strangers. When I was in Rockmart, Georgia, visiting as a kid, my grandma used to drive me around to Carter's, which was a local store. And so we would go around and, she'd wave, hey, how y'all doing and stuff. And everybody just seemed to have a sense of happy. And in spaces like that, what people don't realize is just by the smile, just by the wave, you are creating endorphins inside of yourself that naturally give you positivity. So as we're looking at the hopelessness around us, we're going to be that beacon of light. We're going to be encouraged because we have meditated, and now we're going to smile and we're going to wave at strangers. Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? And that is going to encourage us in a wonderful way. The third thing that I'm going to encourage you guys to do is speaking to people. In the neighborhood that I lived in as a child and as a young adult, was in Atlanta, Georgia. Everybody on my street and in my neighborhood, for the most part, knew everybody. So there weren't very many strangers. When I look at the community that we live in now, I know the neighbors on both sides of me and across the street, but I don't know anybody else. So if something goes wrong, nobody feels inclined to come and help me. And unfortunately, I may not be inclined to go and help them. That has to change. We are a communal people. We need to speak to strangers that we see, because oftentimes we don't know where that person is. And just because you said hello, you may have been the ray of light that they needed to see. You may have been the ray of sunshine. You may have just prevented them from doing something harmful to themselves or to others. You are the beacon. Let's walk in that place. You are the beacon of hope. So step number 1, let's meditate every day. Step number 2, let's wave and smile at strangers. And then step number 3, we're going to step outside of ourselves. We're going to now speak to some of those strangers that we see. And then step number 4, and here's where the challenge starts. Instead of fussing at people, let's try to be more understanding. The last time you went to a restaurant and the waiter or the waitress didn't bring your food right and you fussed at them. Maybe it was an employee that worked for you who didn't complete the task that you had given them correct, and you fussed at them. Or maybe it was a child that didn't take the trash out, and so you fussed at them, or they didn't clean their room, and so you fussed at them. Let's not fuss. Let's try to be more understanding. So step number 4, fuss less, understand more. Let's be, again, a beacon of hope. Let's create ripples of hope. Step number 5, let's share our hobbies or our interests with other people. What does that mean? I played a trumpet or all kinds of brass instruments when I was in elementary, high school, and college. I started out with a normal B-flat trumpet. I went from a B-flat trumpet to a traditional French horn, the curl French horn. And then I went from the French horn to a bell front French horn, which I played in the marching band. And then from the bell front French horn, I went to a mellophone, and I played all kinds of instruments along the way, pocket trumpet, piccolo trumpets, and blah, blah, blah. Now let's share that with other people. So we don't have to feel isolated with ourselves. Now we're connected. We have a reason to connect with people because some of the interests that they have, now we have. Some of the interests that we have, now they have. So we have, again, we're creating a community. We're creating ripples of hope. And then the very last thing that I'm going to encourage you to do is to help. Help out a neighbor that you see. When you do that, whether that be grabbing a piece of trash that's in their yard or rolling their trash can back up into their yard or helping them carry a box in, or maybe they've got groceries in their vehicle that they need to get in the house, help them out. Here's what that does. That simply says that they are not alone. When we look at our community, as I said just a few moments ago, at one point we were a group where everyone knew everyone. Now, not so much. Everybody is basically taking care of themselves. And when tragedy hits, which unfortunately it does, we need help and support. If we have not been friends or friendly with our neighbors, why should they be friends or friendly with us? Unfortunately, they shouldn't. And so now we're trying to build a bond. So when tragedy happens, when that area of hope needs to be shined on us, we've created a sphere that will allow them to shine their light on us. So again, let's help out a neighbor, whether it be something very small or something very big. I was watching a television show, and it's a series on Netflix, and the name of the series is, what is the name of it? It's not Acts of Kindness, it's The Kindness Diaries. This guy is traveling in season 2. He's traveling from Alaska all the way down to Argentina in a Volkswagen. And the only thing that he can receive is kindness. Wow. He goes through so many ordeals. People help him by giving him gas, giving him food, giving him a place to stay. When he has issues with his vehicle, they help him by helping to fix the vehicle. Just through kindness, which says that there is hope in the world, not just for us as individuals, but for us collectively as a community, as a group of people. And so in this space, he receives lots and lots and lots of wonderful things. Let's reciprocate and let's do the same thing to each other. Let's shine light onto them. Let's be a community of hope. Let's create ripples of hope. Let's do things that are going to be beneficial. So our environment will change, not for the worse, but for the better. Not because we hoped for it, but because we made it happen. We put things in place such that we will not hear about the change, but we are a part of the change that we want to see. So again, step number 1, we're going to meditate daily. Step number 2, we're going to smile and we're going to wave at strangers. Step number 3, we're going to speak to people. We're going to just simply say hello. We're going to simply be a ray of light on their lives. 4, we're going to fuss less. We're going to understand more. Number 5, we're going to share our hobbies and our interests with other people. And then lastly, we're going to help others, and we're going to build a more tight, a more hopeful community instead of a helpless community. Thank you guys for stopping by. This is Mike Neely from Transformative Steps. And remember, every journey starts with a single step. So let's get stepping.